And then we'll all mute as the practice begins. So just inviting yourself here to find an easy seat, Sukhasana, as the yogis call it. And inviting a seat, maybe seated like I am on a block so that your hips are lifted slightly higher than your knees. Encouraging that nice opening, releasing of the hip flexors. It's so important to flexibility, to back health. And as you find that seat with your hips slightly higher than your knees, let's begin to close your eyes, shifting your awareness away from the busy outer world of doing into this quieter world of being. And just tuning in here as you close your eyes, noticing your own needs in this moment. Noticing the thoughts and emotions that might be present. Allowing yourself to scan your physical body, noticing areas of tightness, perhaps tenderness. Noticing also the areas which feel good. Letting your awareness shift now to your breath. Feeling the sensation of breathing in fully, breathing out completely. Allowing yourself to settle here into the seat of the observer, observing this body in this space, this body breathing, this body alive. And just inviting the breath in and the breath out. And taking this moment of focused connection before we begin movement, so that we might invite that same focused connection once we move towards the asana portion of our practice. And so with eyes closed, I'm going to play a little sound of our singing bowl here. So you'll begin to hear a little ding, a little vibration. Here we'll begin to tuck your chin in. As your chin comes in, invite your eyes to open. We'll lift the gaze upwards. Good. We'll begin just to roll the shoulders back, lean your heart forward, lift your gaze up, and curling inwards appropriately. I have a cat in front of me as we do our cat and cows. So we'll inhale, leaning forward. Exhale, rounding inwards. And just moving into your spine. If, like me, you have something beneath your seat and you feel it's not serving you, you can always scoot that out of the way and do your cats and cows with your hips on the ground flat. So just feeling here into the different vertebrae of the spine. Again, bringing awareness to those areas of constriction of movement, congestion perhaps as we move. And then contrasting that with the areas of your spine that move freely, that move easily here. Allowing for your head and your neck to be in agreement with the spine. So looking up as you lean forward and looking down towards your lap as you curl inwards. Good. And keeping this motion, this forward, backwards, cat and cow motion, but now sliding your hands towards each other at the ankles. Same motion, just shifting the position of your hands. And notice where in your spine that shifts the stretch now. So you probably feel the locus of this stretch slightly in a different area. So just noticing that. Still inhaling forward and exhaling back. And bringing yourself here to a neutral spine. Finding your way back to this neutral spine with the chin parallel to the ground. Let's plant one hand down on the ground and extend your other hand up and over. Yep, using that bottom hand pressing down to really expand the stretch on the other side. Gaze here could be forward, could be down, or it might even rotate looking up here. Just tuning in with your neck, tuning in with what serves you best here. And on an inhale, reach with your top hand, bring yourself to the other side, planting that former top hand down beneath your shoulder, opposite hand arcing over your body, and then checking in here, maybe looking up, maybe keeping your gaze forward, maybe looking down. Really using that action of pressing your bottom hand down to curl your ribs outward. Breathing deeply here into your side body. And we'll inhale here, reach with your top hand. Bring yourself back to that first side, planting your hand down, arcing your other arm over. And I didn't mention it on our first round of these twists, but you always have that option to bring this top hand behind the back. So if your shoulder pinches as you arc over, you can still get that stretch benefit just with the hand behind your back. So really tuning into your own body's needs and meeting yourself there at a point where you can stretch easily, but also breathe easily. Really actively press into that bottom hand. Let that enhance the curling outwards of the side ribs. Stretching into those muscles between your ribs. Lifting with your top hand, bring yourself back to your second side. Pressing down, arching over. Breathing deeply. And on an inhale, bring yourself to center here. Cupping both kneecaps or resting your hands on your thighs. Close your eyes here. And just feeling into the little shifts that you might be sensing after those two side stretches. Movement into the spine. Maybe becoming aware of a sensation of heat as your muscles begin to warm and awaken. And inhale here, stretch your fingers up. Exhale, take an easy twist to one side. Front hand's going to cross your body, cupping the opposite leg or knee. Gaze comes over that back shoulder, back hand pressing down. And just as we did with our side stretch, use that action of pressing down to lift up. Pressing the hand down, lifting the spine up. Enhancing this sensation of stretch. And our seated twist. And inhale here, radiate your hands out, stretch your arms up. Exhale, twisting to the second side, gaze over your opposite shoulder. Front arm crossing your body. Fully present for your breath here. And inhale, rotating towards center. Extend your fingers up. As your hands lift, interlace all but your pointer fingers. So bringing yourself to little Charlie's Angel mantra or mudra here. Consciously soften your shoulders, and do that. You might even bend into your elbows to invite your shoulders to soften away from your ears. Pull your thumbs lightly backwards. That action is going to bring the shoulder blades in towards each other. Lifting your sternum slightly. Big inhale here. Full exhale. You might stay here, or if you'd like some extra purification, we'll invite our breath of fire. That's an active pumping of the belly to expel the breath out of your nose. So it looks like this. Big inhale. Each exhale, your belly button is pulling the abdominal muscles in and out, pressing air out of your nose. Good. Release that breath of fire. Breathe in here. Hold at the top of your inhale. Squeeze all of your muscles inwards. Exhale. Release your hands, twisting to one side. Looking over the back shoulder. Breathe in here. Next inhale, unwind, bringing it to center. Extend your arms up. Finding again that steeple mudra or Charlie's Angel mudra, all but the pointer finger interlaced. Conscious softening of the shoulders. Gaze forward here, chin parallel to the ground. We'll take our second round of our breath of fire. And so if you start to feel short of breath as we're practicing breath of fire, you always have the option to release that breath, holding this outer shape, and then coming back as you feel ready. We'll inhale to begin. Good, big inhale. At the top of your inhale, retain that breath inward. Squeeze all of your muscles towards your midline. And then exhale, release your arms. Take your second side twist. Let your breath come unforced here. Good. Next inhale, coming back to center for our final round of Kapalabhati, breath of fire. Lifting your arms up, interlacing all but your pointer finger here. Might keep eyes open, or for our final round, you might choose to close your eyes and bring your inner gaze upwards to that point between and above the brows. Nice big inhale to prepare. And begin as you're ready. Final round, Kapalabhati, breath of fire. Good. Final inhale here. Squeeze your muscles in. Feel that vibration of energy moving through all the cells of your body. Exhale here. Float your hands down. Let your eyes open if they've been closed. We'll just find a simple movement side to side, moving, stretching into the side body, releasing into your shoulders. It's a lot of work on the shoulders, 3 rounds of breath of fire. And so you might begin as we move side to side to just shrug the shoulders up, maybe bending into the elbows. So side to side with shoulder shrugs, if that makes sense for you. Let's begin to find our way gently to our hands and our knees here. So moving anything that might be beneath your body. Now, if you know excuse me, if you know in hands and knees that your knees like a little extra support, go ahead and give yourself that. So blanket beneath the knees is always a nice prop to have handy. Finding here your hands beneath the shoulders, knees beneath the hips. Begin to start with a simple round, again, coming back to this cat and cow. So drop your belly, lift your gaze. Here's your inhale. Exhale, opposite action. Release the weight of your head down. And just moving here, feeling into the natural curves of your spine as you move here. And perhaps feeling into this difference as contrasting with our seated cat and cow. Good. Let's bring ourselves to a neutral spine. Gaze directly down. Spine parallel to the ground, so neither curved in nor up. Bring your left knee ever so slightly in towards your midline. Spread your fingertips away from each other if they're not already. Extend your right heel high, right heel out to hip height. Good. Pausing here, feel your body adjusting to support this lifted right leg. And so tendency might be to dump the weight into the left side. Really feel yourself equally balancing your weight between your 2 hands and 1 knee. Cross your right leg over your body, lower the right toes to the left. Bring your gaze over your left shoulder. Find a pulsing here, forwards and backwards. As you come forwards, you might roll over the toes. And as you come back, we're pressing out through the heel. So option 2, come to the tippy toes as you come forward, or take that full toe roll, working into the fascia on the top and the bottom of your feet here if we take that roll. Just moving here, pulsing, gaze back towards that right heel over the left shoulder. Peeling into the stretch that's happening in your body here. A lot of different stretches going on. So your awareness might be maybe in the shoulders, maybe on that outer left hip. Maybe the right foot, that rolling foot is the one that's talking to you mostly here. Next time you press backwards, bring yourself to neutral here. Float your right foot back up. Bring yourself to center. Lower your long leg here. So right toes are going to lower down. Right leg is still long, so that knee is lifted. Bring your gaze forward. Extend your left hand forward, fingertips down. So it's right leg long, left arm long. Inhale here, gaze forward. Exhale, softening down, chin and chest softening towards the ground. Our inhale is lifting. Exhale, surrendering down. Move with your breath here. Next time you lift up, invite your long arm to come in. Bring that right knee underneath the right hip. And we'll bring ourselves here to the pose of the child. So maybe here the knees would like to separate the width of your mat as you sink your hips towards your heels. Arms might come long in front of you, might stack beneath the forehead, giving your head something on which to rest if your head's not coming to the ground. Or maybe those arms want to curl backwards, reaching towards your heels. Wherever you are here, do give yourself the gift of resting that brow point downwards, whether it be on a block or hands or your mat. And invite yourself to come to your breath here. Feeling into that nourishment that's available in each inhale. Feel yourself breathing in this ocean of oxygen that surrounds you. Feeling into all of your needs being met just by the breath in this moment. And as you're ready, let's begin to reach the arms forward if they're not already. Press your palms down and float your body up here, coming to hands and knees. And drawing those knees back beneath the hips if we took that variation of knees to the edges of your mat. Float now your left heel upwards. Left heel is going to lift to hip height. Gaze here is down. Cross that left leg to the right, lowering the toes to the ground, and begin to bring your gaze over the right shoulder. And just find that pulsing here, pressing back through the left heel, coming forward, maybe rolling over those toes. Just breathing here, tuning in with how the body feels here. Tuning in with the way your breath is moving here. And the next time you find yourself pressing backwards, we'll bring ourselves to neutral, float those left toes up, bringing the left heel back in line with the hip before lowering the long leg down, toes down, knee lifted. And then we'll reach now the right fingertips forward, just directly forward, fingertips on the ground, elbow lifted. Left hand is going to stay beneath your left shoulder here. Gaze peels upwards, big inhale here. Let your exhale soften down, chin and chest, softening towards the ground. Inhale, rising. Exhale, lowering. And next time you rise upwards here, invite your hand beneath your shoulder. Invite that long leg inwards. And find your way back into your pose of the child, hips towards your heels, forehead sinking down, and arms again in any position that serves you, underneath your head, reaching back towards your heels or long. Inviting yourself here just to come back to the breath. Bringing here those arms to extend forward if they're not already. Press your palms down to float your body upwards here. And as you rise up, let's feel this space between the thighs. So really snuggle your knees as close as they can come to each other. Keep your hands here beneath the shoulders. So knees are snuggling inwards, inner thighs connecting here. We'll begin a tick-tock, hips to one side, gaze to the other. So tick-tocking side to side, hips to one side, looking out over the opposite shoulder. Using our practice here to work deeply into this line of muscles that really comes up the side body. We're going to bring ourselves back towards center here. Coming towards center, walk the knees back outwards. Curl your 10 toes under here. And then we'll come to a tall kneeling position. Coming to a tall kneeling position, hands to your hips. And if you didn't pad for your knees earlier and you want to do so now, take the time to do that. So if you'd like a little blanket supporting your knees here, when we're kneeling, obviously it's more pressure than when we're hands and knees. So take care of the knees. And if you're not already, you might come to face the long line of your yoga mat. So coming to face the side instead of the short front of the yoga mat. And we're going to make use of the sides of the mat here. Go ahead and extend your right leg long. Toes of the right foot pointing forward. Right hand softening along your long leg. Use an inhale, extend your left fingertips up. Pull your left thumb open. And if you're feeling a pinching in the shoulder, always the option to hinge at that elbow. Nice big inhale here, stretching tall. Exhale, arc your body towards your long leg. Good, so we'll inhale here, come back nice and tall. Exhale, arcing long into this Parigasana. So each inhale reaching, each exhale stretching. And just as we did with our side stretches earlier, gaze here could be straight ahead, might rotate to look up, rotate to look down. Just choosing a head and neck position that helps release rather than create tension in that sensitive area of the body. Okay, next time we come into this gate pose, let's hold here. Breathing here, really tuning in. Feeling the way your body is reacting to the shape. Inhale, bringing it to center, settling both hands on your hips, inviting your long leg inwards here. And taking a moment of rest, settling your hips down. And if kneeling isn't your game, you can shift this to a cross-legged position. We're using this as a break. The break just to check in with the body. So maybe slipping a block between your heels, taking a seat there if it's not comfortable to come fully to your heels. Just sitting cross-legged. Invite your eyes to close, just checking inwards here. Notice the way your body's responding to this practice physically, noticing the muscles warming, stretching, maybe tiring. Checking in energetically. And as you're ready, we'll find our way back to our tall kneeling position. Invite your eyes to open. We'll turn into that nice tall, hands on hips, and now left leg long as we come to our second side, Parigasana. Let that left arm reach, resting your palm on your left leg. Stretch your right fingertips up. And as those right fingers rise, find that action of lightly pulling the thumb back. Breathing into the shoulders. Big inhale here, spine long. Exhale, reaching across your body. Let yourself just fall into your own rhythm here. Inhaling to reach. Exhaling, stretching and extending. And the next time we find ourselves reaching, we'll hold here, breathing here. Aware of the shape of our body, aware of our breath moving in the body. Inhale here, bring yourself back to center, hands on your hips, long leg drawing inwards. And here, center yourself so that you're once more facing that long, short line of your yoga mat. Removing that blanket if you're using it beneath your knees. We'll step 1 foot forward, keeping the opposite toes curled under. Lean lightly forward, press into those back toes, lift your knee upwards, and we'll come to standing at top line of our yoga mat. Good. And then if you're using blocks today, make sure those blocks are within reaching distance. So we'll say just off that front line of your yoga mat, close enough to grab if you want them, not so close if they're in the way, you choose not to use them. So from the top short line of your yoga mat, set your feet hips width distance apart. Take a big inhale, extend your fingers up. Lead with your heart bowing as you exhale, coming into your forward fold, Uttanasana, first one today. Find your half lift, maybe reaching your hands onto your blocks, maybe bringing your hands to your knees. Exhale, soften in here. Let your spine curl. Let your hands reach down, connecting with the ground, connecting with your blocks. Head here is looking inwards, neck is long. Find a softening side to side. Shaking your head no, releasing into your neck, into your jaw. And then take that opposite action, nodding in and out, nodding yes. A nice big inhale here. Crawl both hands up to your hips. Roll your shoulders open. Use your exhale, rising into your mountain pose. Inhale, stretching tall. Exhale, pour yourself back forward into that shape of the forward fold. Rise halfway here. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, soften in. Inhale, both hands to your hips, rolling open. And exhale, rising here. Good. Taking your blocks now, let's set one block towards this short line of your yoga mat. Other blocks towards the opposite short line of your yoga mat. And we'll take a stance in the center, toes facing the long line of your mat. And we'll begin to separate the heels away from each other. Excuse me. Okay, so we'll take the right toes, rotate those right toes to face the right block. Reach forward with your right hand, take a hold of that right block. If you're not using blocks here, don't panic. You'll just reach. When we reach down, you'll reach for the floor instead of a block. Left hand is on your hip. Take a moment here, close your eyes, really tuning in, pressing into both heels equally. Heels of both feet pressing equally. Good. Draw your awareness upwards to your tailbone. Envision your tailbone pointing directly down. And then bringing that awareness upwards now to the roof of your mouth, reaching up, shoulders softening down. Invite your eyes to open. Rotate the gaze to the right and inhale. Lift your right hand, maybe holding that block up to shoulder height. Good. Here, press into your heels. Get long, get tall. Reach up through the crown of your head. Hinge over the waist on the right, reaching with your block, and then lower that block down on the inner edge of the right ankle. Good. So as you lower down, if you do this, if you rotate and curl inwards, I want you to release the block, bring your hand upwards as much as you need to stack this left shoulder over the right. So we don't want to curl inwards, having the shoulders side by side. We want to keep the heart and that top shoulder facing upwards. Release your left hand now. Stretch the left hand forward, palm facing down. Plug that straight arm into its shoulder socket and then inhale to open up here into our Trikonasana. Gaze here could be lifted, could be straight ahead, could be lowered. Keep pressing actively into the outer edge of your back foot. Use that as a point to stretch the crown of your head forwards towards that opposite short line of your yoga mat. Feel into the space you're creating here in your side body. Breathing here. Isometrically press your heels away from each other. Let that action lift your torso upwards. Bringing both hands down to your hips, rotate all 10 toes now to face forward. Good, taking that right block now, scoot that just out of the way. Rotate your left toes to the left. Pausing a moment here, close your eyes, let your awareness come inwards into this inner world. Feel into the body's alignment here, pressing equally through both feet. Lengthening upwards through your spine. Shoulders soft, shoulders relaxed here, spine long. Once you're ready, let your eyes open. Rotate your gaze to the left, reaching now for that left block into the left hand. Lift your left hand up to shoulder height. Good. So even here with the eyes open, connect with that sense of alignment. Heels pressing down, tailbone pointing down. Low belly drawing in to support that lift in the chest, lift in the crown. As you exhale, lengthen over your long left leg, first reaching and extending, and then softening that left hand and block downwards on the inner ankle of the left foot. And again, checking in, noticing if we curl inwards with our chest, going higher. It's an option to go lower. So if your block has landed too high, you might shift that. But always keeping that heart oriented forward, top shoulder stacked over bottom. Taking now the right hand away from your hip, extending that straight arm directly forward, palm pointing down. Shrug that arm into its socket and then open upwards here into our Trikonasana, triangle pose. Allowing for your body to breathe and to open into the shape. Making any adjustments that your body needs to breathe more easily. And then your next inhale, find that action of pressing the heels away from each other. Let that action lift your torso upwards. Bringing both hands to your hips, all 10 toes pointing forward. Reaching down here, collect both of your blocks and walk your feet towards each other. Good, coming now to face the short line of your yoga mat. Set your blocks down on their tallest height, and we're going to set the blocks down parallel to the outer edges of your feet. So you want the feet in between your blocks. Feet here, hips width distance apart, all 10 toes pointing forward. And with your hands in your hips, drop your gaze down. Sweep the straight right leg backwards. Keep those right toes pointing forward. Outer edges of the right foot parallel to the outer edges of your mat. And right heel here pressing down. Inhale here, stretch your arms long. Exhale, plugging in. Feel the shoulders plugging in. Feel that tailbone pointing directly down, not backwards, not forward. Back heel pressing down. Connect with that long line of energy. Extend the 10 fingers up. Exhale, lengthen forward. Catch your 2 blocks with your hands. Keep those blocks on their tallest height. And begin to walk those blocks forward so they land directly beneath the shoulders. Keep that left hip drawing slightly in, right forward. Keep that action of pressing into your back heel. Lengthen the crown of your head away from that point. So stretch the crown of your head forward. Gaze is directly down. Stretching away from that point of the back heel. Bring now your right block ever so slightly in towards your midline. Plant your right hand down. Bring your left hand to your left hip. So keep that action. Press into that back heel. Stretch the crown of your head forward. Roll your left shoulder open, begin to rotate heart and eyes to the left, so towards that straight front leg. You might stay here, left hand on your left hip. You might begin to stretch and extend the left fingertips upwards, coming here into our revolving triangle. Vrita Trikonasana, breathing here. It's one of the more challenging asana. So even as we come here to a space of strong sensation, taking those spaces around, between, and through sensation for your breath to move. On an inhale, unwind, lowering your lifted hand. Your next inhale invites your back foot inwards. And if they've moved at all, setting those blocks parallel to the outer edges of your feet. Take an inhale here, bring both hands to your hips, roll your shoulders open, rise as you exhale. Inhale, stretching up. Exhale, bring your hands towards each other, heart center here. Good, nice big inhale, reaching tall. Exhale, invite both hands now to your hips. Dropping the eyes here, sweep the long left leg backwards. Being precise about the direction of those left toes, pointing forward, not outwards, left heel plugging down. Lift your gaze, lift your fingers, big inhale. Exhale, reaching forward and down, catching those two tall blocks here. And as we land the tall blocks, keep your spine parallel to the ground. Keep that space between your sternum and your chin as you look directly down here. Actively pressing now into the left heel. Finding that action of lightly drawing the right hip back, left hip slightly forward. That action of stretching and lengthening away from your back heel. Drawing now the left hand, maybe left hand and block slightly in towards your midline. Right hand finds the right hip. And here, before we go into that twist, first connect with length. First stretch forward. Inhale here, then exhale, rotating towards that front leg, now to the right. Belly button, heart, gaze. Maybe that right hand wants to stay in the hip. Maybe the right fingertips want to stretch upwards. And inhale, back to center, lowering your lifted hand. Heart and gaze looking down. Next inhale, walk your back foot forward. Bend lightly into your knees, send both hands to your hips, roll your shoulders open and rising here. Nice big inhale, stretching up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, softening down. Inhale here, reaching up, maybe reaching back. And then pour yourself forward into the shape of our Uttanasana, making use of the blocks or scooting them out of the way if they're in the way. Find your half lift here, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, surrender inwards into the shape of the forward fold, releasing the weight of your head down, gaze back. Moving into all of the spaces of your body that offer themselves to this fresh breath, this prana. Now, if your hands are unblocked, scoot those blocks out of the way. Make space to bring your hands fully to the ground, bending your knees as much as you need to bring the palms of your hands down. And then we'll step both feet back, coming into the shape of our downward dog. Separate your hands as much as you need to from each other to create space for the shoulder blades. Separating your feet maybe wider here, making space for the low back. Actively press into your palms here. The space between the shoulder blades softening back and down. Feel the hip points reaching up and back. Breathing here into the shape. This Adho Mukha Svanasana. Next exhale, lower both knees to the ground. Maybe separating your knees, finding your way back into the shape of the child's pose. This time, keep your arms lengthening forward. As you soften your hips towards your heels, your third eye down towards the ground. Lift your head lightly upwards. Begin to walk your fingertips off the right side of your mat. Keep your left hip pressing towards your left heel. Maybe cross your left wrist over your right. Take a peek out underneath the long left arm. As you take this balasana, stretching to the side. Breathing deeply into the left side body. Inhale, bring your hands back through center. And walking now off the left side of your mat. Maybe taking that action of right wrist crossing over left. Rotating the gaze, looking out underneath the long right arm. Uncrossing those wrists if you took that option here. Bring your hands back to center. And begin to walk your hands inwards here, lifting your torso upwards. And gently begin to transition to your back body. Coming to the back with your knees bent. And as you come down to your mat here, bring both knees towards your chest. Use your hands either in front of or behind your knees, just holding your legs inwards here. You might stay here, these shoulders and back of your head resting down, or you might lightly curl upwards, holding here. Work of your core, work of your neck muscles, holding you here. Let your body relax downwards if you took that option of lift. Releasing both feet down to the ground if they're lifted. And begin here to extend your legs long. Let your hands rest by your side. As you come to a resting shape here in our Shavasana. Let your eyes close here. Let your body fully relax. Your body fully relaxed, releasing any control you might still be holding over your breath. Letting your awareness rest for a moment into the toes of both feet. Letting your awareness come to the soles of your feet, feeling into your heels, resting here, supported here. Let that inner awareness come upwards now, circling your ankles, inner and outer ankles. And that sense of seeing consciousness come now to your low legs, maybe feeling the back of your shins resting down. Maybe feeling a breeze, sense of warmth or coolness in the skin of your legs. Feeling aware now of your kneecaps, natural curve that might be there for your knees. Feeling into the skin behind your knees. Let that awareness come upwards now, upwards to your thighs, fronts and the backs of your thighs, sides of your thighs. Feeling and aware now into your hips. Into that pelvic girdle. Feeling into the softness of your belly. Low inward curve of your lumbar spine. Feeling into the broadness of your back supported down here. Feeling into the ribs, into the organs of your body supported, protected by the ribs. Feeling into your lungs, breathing. Maybe aware of your heart beating. Let that awareness come upwards now to your neck, upwards to your jaw and your mouth, your teeth and your gums. Feel your eyes resting, temples relaxed, back of your head supporting down. Bringing your awareness down to the shoulders, down to your elbows and hands resting by your sides. And with eyes closed here, let your whole body be held in your awareness. Feel your body resting. Feel your body breathing. And staying in this space, I'm going to stop talking. Let yourself rest here. I'll be ringing my bowl in a little while to bring you out. Beginning here, find those small movements that make sense in your body. The movement of your fingers and your toes, wrists and your ankles. Bringing, as you're ready, a full body stretch, reaching your fingers back and your toes forward. Invite your knees to your chest. Wrap your arms around your knees. Find a gentle side to side movement. As you're ready, with top hand pressing down, lifting your body upward. And as you arrive, invite your hands inwards. Find a gentle softening of your chin in, gaze down. And taking this moment, thanking yourself for creating this time to consciously connect and to make mindful space for all that is here. Thankful for breath, thankful for movement. I'm so grateful to be able to spend